Let's see though if they have improved the interior, which was the biggest disappointment for the T-Roc. Hello guys, and welcome back to the Volks Wizard channel. Now, the T-Roc SUV was launched in 2017 and in the intervening 4.5 years has sold a massive 1 million units, making it a great sales success for Volkswagen. So when I was invited here to Milton Keynes to drive early left-hand drive versions of the new T-Roc, I couldn't really say no, could I? Now, I know what you're thinking. It does look very similar to the old car, but I'm reliably informed there are numerous detail changes which combine to make the new T-Roc a much more satisfying and enjoyable car to own and drive. Well, to find out if that's true, let's start off with some statistics. We'll cover the new T-Roc R later in the video. Let's now just stick to the mainstream models, starting with the engines, of which there are 5 to choose from, starting at 110 horsepower all the way up to 190. That's pretty similar to what was in the old T-Roc. What's different is that the diesels now feature twin dosing of AdBlue, which reduces nitrogen oxide emissions by a massive 80%, and nearly every derivative, whether it's petrol or diesel, features reduced CO2 emissions, making the T-Roc significantly cleaner now than the old model. So the engines start off with a 110 horsepower 1 litre TSI petrol that's manual only. We then have a 115 horsepower 2 litre diesel that's manual only. Then we go up to the 150 horsepower 1.5 TSI, which can be 6-speed manual or 7-speed DSG. And then we have the 150 horsepower 2 litre diesel that again can be 6-speed manual or 7-speed DSG. But if you go for the DSG, you can choose between 4-wheel drive or 2-wheel drive. And then at the top of the range, we have the 190 horsepower 2 litre petrol that is DSG and 4-wheel drive only. No hybrid models have been announced as yet. I'm not sure if they're coming in the future. The old T-Roc's rather confusing 7 trim levels have now been condensed to just 3, and the R Line is the only one that's carried over, and that has engines from 150 horsepower up to 190. Style models get the full range from 110 to 190, and the entry level T-Roc, which for the UK market anyway, there is a lower model in other markets, is the Life, and that gets the engines that go from 110 horsepower to 150 horsepower. Unfortunately, we don't have one here today, but they begin at £25,000, and going through the spec list, I'm actually quite impressed what they get as standard. So you get standard LED headlights with automatic main beam, you get an 8-inch digital cockpit, digital instrument cluster, you get wireless app connects for Apple CarPlay and Android Auto through its 8-inch ready to discover infotainment system, which doesn't have navigation, but it's prepared for it, so you can upgrade to it. That's fine, because most people I think will probably be using Apple CarPlay or Android Auto for their maps. There are also a number of driver assistance systems, some that you'll love, some that you'll probably hate. So we've got lane assist, adaptive cruise control, and park assist with front and rear parking sensors. Externally, the Life model just gets 16-inch alloy wheels, but you can upgrade those to 17-inch or 18-inch, and the Life gets black roof rails. And inside it has some lovely ambient lighting to brighten up that interior, which, as I've had a look at these ones already looks a lot nicer than the old car. Let's now move on to the style. Okay, this is the style model, and it's set to become the biggest seller in the UK. Prices start at £27,635 for the 1 litre TSI 110 horsepower engine with 6-speed manual gearbox. That's what we're in today, but there's quite a few options in this car. I wouldn't be surprised if it goes over £30,000, so bear that in mind. We'll start off inside with the style model. Nothing to do with the hideous weather, but because it's all about comfort and technology, and that's most apparent in the car. So we've got digital cockpits there, which is configurable to 3 different layouts, including full screen nav. We've got actually non-haptic buttons on the steering wheel, which do look expensive, dare I say it, but we've got quite a nice steering wheel. It's very similar to the one in the R Line, with a bit of a flat bottom. We've got Discover Media navigation system, so it's got navigation as standard, unlike in the Life, but most importantly for most people, it's got wireless app connect, so Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. That's where you put your phone, and there's a wireless charger down there as well. It seems to work okay. Climate control is from this interface here. There's no knobs as such, but it's obviously a bit more intuitive than in the Golf 8, which is in the infotainment system. The Inlays for the dash and the door are piano black, which looks pretty good. Seats are called Comfort Sport seats, so you've got microfiber centre, grippy bits there in the inner bolster, and then fake leather in the outer with a normal fabric around the side and the back, and they are super comfy. This car's got heated seats as well, which are very welcome on a day like today. This car's got a black headline and black A-pillar trims, which makes it feel a bit sportier in here. That's, I'm almost sure, is not standard, but the beauty of the T-Roc, particularly the style model, is that it's very, very highly configurable. So let's have a look at the outside and see how unique that is. The colour is petrol blue, which really looks great with the black styling pack on this car. So there's black bits where there'd normally be chrome. We've got black wheels, which are a lot bigger than standard. 17s are standard, these are 19s. And the bumpers front and back are a little bit different to those on the R Line. So that's the style, and that's the R Line looking a little bit more aggressive. Let's have a look at the front as well. And that's the R Line. So which one do you prefer? Okay, that's style done. I think now we should have a look at the R Line. We've got not one but two versions of the new T-Roc R Line here today. They look pretty similar, but there are some subtle differences we'll talk about shortly. They're both in the new standard colour of Ascot Grey, which is a sort of mushroomy beige colour, which may not be coming over on camera. Trust me, it looks better than it sounds, particularly on the right hand car, which has got some sort of exterior black styling pack. So if you look carefully, the bottom of the grille is black, it's chrome on this one. Roof rails are chrome versus black. Window surrounds at the top anyway are chrome versus black. Wheels are the same style, but they're diamond cut on this one, just solid black. Both these wheels are factory upgrade wheels. The standard wheels are the 17-inch Valencias, and there's an 18-inch wheel as well. The tyres on these, by the way, are from Bridgestone. They're Potenzas. We've got the new R badge, which there's no R Line badge now. It looks very similar to the one on the T-Roc R, but it's not identical. I should point out these are German spec cars, so you may see things here that don't apply to UK R Lines. For example, the triple stack of LEDs in the bumper are purely for the T-Roc R, not the R Line. They've both got the contrast black roof, they've both got black mirror casings. I'm surprised this black styling pack car has still got chrome there, but it looks great. What it does have that that one doesn't is a carbon fibre foil here, which it's alright. At the back they're pretty much identical, apart from the exhaust tips, which are black on this one and silver on this one. Bear in mind they're fake, probably best if they're not as visible as they are on this one by being black. So yeah, that one does work for me a lot. What do you think of the plain C-pillar on that one versus that one? The rear bumper on the R Line now, I believe it's identical to the one on the old T-Roc R, which is a little bit different for the new T-Roc R. So yeah, I've always liked the T-Roc, the way it looks, and I don't think it's aged particularly much in the 4.5 years it's been around. Let's see though if they have improved the interior, which was the biggest disappointment for the T-Roc for me. Now, I should point out this car's got £2,800 worth of factory option leather, which does look amazing. Kind of try and not see that. Let's look at the bits that are standard across the car, whatever seats it's got. And I think in this spec anyway, it looks really good. The last one I drove I think was an R model, so this is below it in the range. It looks a lot better. We've got some nice sort of fake leather there with white stitching, piano black inlays. It's still quite hard plastic, but I think it's a bit better. Let's have a look at the dashboard, which before was very hollow and scratchy. And, well, I'm really impressed. It's actually better than Golf. So we've got fake stitching there, but it does actually hold two pieces of something together, which is more convincing than it is in the new Audi A3 and is similar in the Skoda Octavia that looks really fake. So actually, that is amazing. Yeah, and even back here it's soft touch as well. Some cars go a bit harder as they go further back on the dash, but that's really nice. Piano black looks good. The glove box still looks a bit Skoda. but I think overall it's much nicer in here. We've got the larger digital cockpit in this car. Being a left-hand drive car, you get this lovely chrome dead pedal, which we don't get in the UK. I'll just start it up. It's got keyless go. So it's not as revolutionary inside as in the Mark 8 Golf. At the risk of sounding like Aaron Partridge, it's more evolutionary in here. So we've got different climate control panel, which doesn't have any knobs as such. It's just touch sensitive, but it's pretty cool, and you can slide up and down there. This car's got heated seats, which are a lot easier to use than in the Golf. There are some traditional buttons here. That's park assist, that's parking sensors, that's start stop, and we do get driving modes as well. Does it come on the screen? Yeah, so there's the driving mode there with DCC on this car. Lovely. So this is a infotainment system that actually reminds me more of the one in the Golf 7.5 rather than the one in the Mark 8, so that's interesting. The heater controls are quite nicely weighted. Some of them can feel a bit flimsy. So overall, the massive step up in interior quality in this car. We get the new steering wheel with R logo there. We don't get the R's, the Golf R's bigger paddles. We'll get the haptic buttons, which I'm sure will irritate some people, particularly when you start driving these cars. You do press this, but then you soon learn to not do that, and I don't touch mine at all in error now. So yeah, very pleasant in here. The shifter is interesting. It's very strange to see a proper shifter, and it's quite plasticky, but yeah, I think overall it's still a massive step up in quality. Yeah, very good. I suppose we better have a look at the carpet. Let me just turn it off. So we've got black floor mats with some contrast stitching. The carpet's a bit nasty, but it's probably the same as it is in the Golf. These seats are lovely though, yeah, look. Electric adjustment, lumbar adjustment, and memory function as well. But quite expensive. It does look a bit tight in here. Got two USB-Cs in here now for rear passengers. I'm not sure what that is. We lose the fake leather in the upper part of the rear door, but it still looks all right. Let's just adjust the seat to my driving position. Also, we've got traditional headlights, which is why it's bonging. Traditional headlight switch. So it is a real mixture of the old and the new, a bit like the Arteon. Right, let's see how we're doing. Wrist on there. Yeah, I think that's my driving position. So let's see how much room we've got in the back. The good thing about the T-Roc is that it's not much bigger than a Golf. So if you move up to Tiguan, it's significantly bigger, and some people do find that a bit annoying, particularly if they don't use all the space. So let's see how easy it is for a 6-foot adult to travel in the back of here. Well, I'm pleasantly surprised because I've got a fair bit of knee room, and yeah, it's really comfortable. The roof's quite high, and that makes it feel spacious. We do have the black headlining in this R Line to make it feel a bit sportier, and yeah, that is actually very impressive. I could be very comfortable here for sure. Let's have a quick look in the boots. Okay, so you've got a looks like a 60-40 split folding seat. Loads of room down there. There actually is a subwoofer for the Beats sound pack fitted to this car. No lining of the boot floor, which is a bit disappointing. The Golf does get that, and there's a tyre foam kit in there. I think you can drop this down if you want a bit more space as well, so that's quite a big boot. And we've got the power tailgate, which is a nice touch. Now the T-Roc R Line starts at just over £30,000, but this one on the right will be well beyond that, partly because it's got the DSG gearbox, but also because it's got that lovely £2,800 worth of leather interior. This one on the left though will be a fair bit closer to the base price because it's got the 6-speed manual gearbox, as you can tell by the 3 pedals down there. You still get the dead pedal on the manual as well, but also because whilst it does have factory option seats, they're only £655. They're called the Ergo Active seats, And that means you get a 4-way electric lumbar adjustment. You also get a massage function as well. The fabric is quite interesting. You've got normal cloth there, fake leather there, a grippy fabric here on the inside of the bolster, and the artist formerly known as Alcantara, microfiber in the centre. So they look super comfortable. You do lose a bit of the flair you get with the standard interior, which is like the one in the Mark 8 Golf R Line. But yeah, I think they look good. They don't cheapen the interior. So yeah, and also you get winter packs chucked in as well. So you get heated seats, you get heated washer jets, and you get low fluid level warning. So yeah, for £655, I'd say that's a no-brainer. However nice this one is, and it doesn't just look good, it also smells pretty good in here as well. But you can always get a leather air freshener, I suppose. So I like the way the new T-Roc looks on the outside. I love the way it looks on the inside. It's actually better than my Golf now. Will I like the way the new T-Roc drives? Well, let's go and find out. Okay, so I've decided to drive the T-Roc 1.5 TSI 150 R Line Dsg. And it's not going to be the biggest seller in the UK, but it's the sportiest one of the ones available today. Very limited range. It's still 2-wheel drive. Hopefully I'll drive the T-Roc R very soon. But yeah, this is not a bad place to start off. We've got electric parking brake with auto hold. We've got driving modes, so we've got eco, comfort, normal, sport, individual. I'm just going to drive it in normal. We've got DCC as well. Bear in mind we've got the upgrade 19-inch wheels, so it'll be interesting to see how it rides. Got paddle shifters, which are the Diddy ones, not the bigger R ones. Whether the T-Roc R will get those, I don't know. It doesn't seem to be as full fat as the Golf R. It seems to be very similar in its hardware to the old T-Roc R, which is still good, but it's not going to be as crazy fast as the Golf 8R. Okay, seats are dead comfy. Yeah, electric adjustments. So, right, let's drive. We've got keyless starts, and we've got side assist, which is maybe not standard for the UK, but it's really useful, particularly when you're driving a left-hand drive car on right-hand drive roads. It's really just makes you feel a lot safer, as does DSG. We don't have to worry about changing gear, which you'd probably inevitably do with the electric window switches for the first mile or so. And we're going to really test the windscreen wipers today. Okay. So there's a bit of a rasp from the 1.5 engine. It's not completely soulless, but it isn't a performance engine as such. It's more geared for economy, and it does that with cylinder deactivation. So when you're on part throttle or no throttle, it'll turn off 2 of the cylinders, helping save fuel and reduce emissions. We've got 7-speed DSG, and it does what it says on the tin. It's a great gearbox. It's really fast and responsive when you want that, but for most people, they just want a comfortable, sort of smooth changing car to get them through traffic jams, and it does that brilliantly. I wouldn't consider buying one of these as a manual, really. The DSG just does it all. So we're in, I think, Bedfordshire. The roads are not brilliant, and on these 19s, you'd think it'd be quite crashy, but actually it's quite plush. The heated seats are fierce, and yeah, weirdly, it's not actually a button, it's just a touch sensitive sort of part of the climate control panel. I think performance-wise, it's fast enough. There doesn't seem to be any fake sound, thank God, and it sounds all right. So if you want, you know, a reasonably powerful petrol engine, you don't want 4-wheel drive, this is good. I'm pretty sure the MPG is better than you might think with this 1.5 TSI, because it's a very, very clever engine. So there's a little bit of a tight corner coming up. Yeah, it's all right. It's not going to be the best test drive in the world, because the roads are, in some places, like this one, quite flooded. But hey, we're in an SUV. It might be 2-wheel drive, but it's still a bit higher, so which kind of helps you going through floods. Now let's get on to the very convenient A5 dual carriageway, which I think is 70 miles an hour here. Let's see how it cruises. Okay, so that's 70 miles an hour, and we're in top gear, in 7th gear. There does seem to be quite a bit of road noise. It could be the tyres, particularly on this coarse surface, and on 19 they're going to create a bit more road noise than you would on the standard 17, so you might want to just think about that. 18s might be the sweet spot, but it does look sweet on the 19s. I wouldn't say it's going to be night and day different over the old T-Roc. That was actually quite a nice driving car, and unlike the Tiguan, it doesn't feel big and unwieldy. It feels you know, pretty agile. It's not going to be as slick as a Golf, because this has got weight and height to contend with, but actually, you know, you can still enjoy driving it, and that's what the R Line model is all about. You don't need to have double the horsepower like in the T-Roc R. Yeah, it feels pretty tidy. Also here today is a very early right-hand drive version of Volkswagen's new Taigo SUV. So it's Volkswagen's first coupe SUV. They're a long way behind Audi in that respect, and it's very similar to the T-Roc which we have over here, but it's not just a coupe version of the T-Roc. It's a little bit cheaper, it sits a bit further down the range, so it's just above the T-Cross. It doesn't have as many engine options, it stops at 150 horsepower, not 190. And the styling actually at the back is distinctly different. It's much more curvaceous than the quite angular T-Roc. This car's on 18-inch wheels, it's in R Line spec. I think it's in King's Red. And I suppose a very distinctive feature is the light bar at the back. So yeah, while the front looks very similar to the T-Roc down there, the back is very, very different. It's very different. Which do you prefer then? Do you think it's going to be a winner? T-Roc or Taigo? Well, let's have a look inside, see if I can help you decide. So as I said, being an R Line, it does actually have what's probably the standard interior, which is very much like the one in the Golf 8 R Line, and it's very similar to the one in the Golf 8R, just not blue. The seats don't have integrated headrests, so they're much more conventional in that respect. The door cards aren't as plush looking as they are in the T-Roc, but they're not bad, not bad. A bit like the old T-Roc. We've got the new steering wheel, but weirdly, we've got the normal buttons. Now I'd have thought these were more expensive to make than the haptic, but they seem to put them in the lower spec cars. So yeah, if you don't like haptic, you might want to buy the steering wheel and stick it in your Golf maybe. Let's get inside and have a closer look at the quality. So we've got the digital cockpit, we've got very old looking infotainment, looks like Golf 7.5 standard. We do have soft touch on here, which is better than the old T-Roc. And there, glove box is very similar, not lined. It's a DSG car here, so yeah, it's kind of polo-ish in here. We've got separate climate controls there.
Hospital, are we seeing increases in numbers?
How do we turn the radio off? We've got a knob, there we go. So yeah, it looks actually quite nice in here. I'd be quite interested to see how it compares to T-Roc in price. The old T-Roc probably wasn't that different in material quality in here, but the new one is massively better, so I expect this to be quite a bit cheaper. But yeah, very interesting car. Okay guys, well, I hope you've enjoyed this Volkswizard video on the new T-Roc and Taigo models. If you've enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up, please do comment, please do share, please subscribe. We've got to get to 40,000 subs very soon to make this channel viable in the longer term, and I'll see you for the next one very soon.